Welcome to Annapolis Mosaics. Our program spotlights people in the city who are involved in activities designed to promote good human relations. I am Michael Keller, the chair of the Annapolis Human Relations Commission and your host. The commission is a city board that seeks to promote equal opportunity and to eliminate discrimination. My guest today is Patricia Omana, the executive director of Centro de Ayuda, translated Center of Hope, Center of Help, Center of Help. Welcome to Annapolis Mosaics.
Thank
Patricia. Well, tell our viewers what Centro de Ayuda is and how long it's been in operation.
Centro de Ayuda is a 501c3. It's a nonprofit organization. It was founded in 1997 by a group of people, and it has evolved. We're now located on Forest Drive on the Gardner Center, and we basically are a referral center. We refer the immigrant community to the different program services, anything that is out there that can help them better their lives. Mm-hmm. So we have as well ESOL classes for those people to be able, because again the mission is to make them incorporated into the community that they live in. So obviously English is one of the first hurdles that they have. Once they go over that, then it makes everything else easier. But we help them with everything that you can think of. We help them with translating a letter that they must have gotten from, it could be from BGE or it could be from the court. We help them with interpretation if they have to go to a doctor and try to make them understand what that doctor's trying to explain to them and tell them, all the way up to issues with domestic violence as well. So we have various partnerships as well. Not only is our job to learn what everybody in the county and in Annapolis does, so we can refer these people correctly, but also we have created some partnerships, one of them with the school system. We now have a caseworker up in North County every Friday, helping the community there, because that side of Anne Arundel County really has exploded in terms of the population. And we work with Arundel Lodge. They have a bilingual therapist, so we refer people over there. We work with the YWCA. We work with Boys and Girls Club, with infinite organizations and different companies to help, again, this community be part, a productive part into the community that they live in.
Why is it important that an organization such as yours exists?
We believe that we offer the community a safe place, in parentheses. They feel comfortable when they come into the center, so they really open up with the different issues that they have. And again, knowing where to direct them, it makes their life a little bit easier. One of the things that we're trying to do is not only point them to the right direction, but to teach them why that is the right direction, why you should go here versus there, why you should find out different types of things and ask a lot of questions. We do find people within the Hispanic community that take advantage of our community. So we're trying to also inform them to get informed, to get information.
When you say you find that there are some people who try to take advantage of other Latinos, Could you give us an example?
They could be somebody in the mortgage business, a lawyer that might, bill them, charge them, and not accurately follow through their case. And that has happened more than one time, regretfully. So I think like in any society, we have those people that do try to take advantage of people, and if you're not informed and if you don't ask the right questions, you don't know. And so we try to help them understand that.
Who are your primary clients, and what are the issues that motivate people to come, that most motivate people to come to you for assistance?
Our largest clientele is definitely the Hispanic community. I will have to say 99% are Hispanic. We do get Vietnamese. We have gotten Russian, Iranian people coming in, but the one that obviously is the largest is the Hispanic community. Most of them are women. The ones that come in, like around 70% of the clientele are women. Most of them with children, with children born here in the United States. And again, they come in seeking for that help and that guidance of what to do, where to go, who to speak with, to try to solve their whatever situation they might have at the moment.
Where do they hear about your center?
I'm very fortunate that we basically don't have to do a lot of outreach, although we should, but we don't. Word of mouth takes care of a lot of that outreach that we should be doing. We offer again that a safe place, a place that gives good guidance. So the voice just goes around the community, and people tell each other, hey, go to the center, they help me with X. They might be able to help you, go and ask. Now that our presence is in North County as well, we're getting people from the Glen Burnie area, the Linthicum area, coming down here to our offices down here for us to help them. So the voice is expanding a little bit, keeping us busy.
How many clients do you see on an average each week or each month?
On a monthly basis, we see between 600 and 675 clients, of which 51 of them are new clients. The other ones are repeat clients. Repeat could be that they came the week before, or they came the year before. But at one point in the existence of the center and in the time that they've been in the Annapolis area, they've come to the center at least once. So we do, in that ratio of 650, 675 clients, we do around close to 8,000 cases a year. So it's not necessarily the amount of people, but what the issues are that the people have. So again, that's what keeps us very busy.
You'd mentioned that the large number of people that come to this Center of Help are people who are part of the Latino community. Let's look at the Latino community in the county. Talk a little bit about it in terms of the numbers that exist in terms of Latinos in Anne Arundel County, in the city of Annapolis, what kind of growth there has been in this particular demographic group, and also the diversity across countries of the Latinos. I know there's a lot of I think perceptions, incorrect perceptions on the part of non-Hispanics that the Latino community is very homogeneous, that
Right.
they're all the same. They have the same customs. They have the same cultures. They come from the same country, Mexico. They think the same, and people put them in a stereotypic box. So talk a little bit about those three things: the size of the Latino community, the kind of growth you're seeing, and also this issue of diversity. How do Latinos differ among themselves in terms of characteristics by country, and how does that impact your work?
Well, the first kind of question, we obviously now know that there was probably a 4.4 growth in population in the county. Mm-hmm. And the Hispanic community apported 40% of that growth. Mm-hmm. So basically, the Hispanic population doubled in 10 years. So those are the preliminary numbers that we've gotten our hands on. I think the last couple weeks it came out.
And it's especially noticeable in the city of Annapolis.
Correct. Yeah, the largest growth of Hispanic population, one of them was in Annapolis, North County and West County. Mm-hmm. So those are the three areas where the largest boom took place. Looking at that, we have a total mixture of Hispanics, mm-hmm. and again we talk about and we interchange Hispanic and Latino. Yeah. It's more kind of like a research type word. It came about, and actually it came about because of the census. Because years ago, when the census started measuring, when Hispanics started being more involved in the United States, there was not a good way. They couldn't come up with a good way of how to measure this population. We have Hispanics that look African American in our countries. We have also Africans that came from Africa. The Spaniards and Portuguese will bring them, so the same as in this country. But they don't consider themselves obviously African Americans. So there was a big pocket of people that were not counted because this question of Hispanic or Latino wasn't there, because I couldn't identify myself with white. I'm Venezuelan, but I'm Hispanic basically in this country because I'm not considered white. It's more like an Anglo term. So that's where that term comes from. So basically we are totally different. I'm like, it's like, I always explain to people, it's like going from New York to Iowa. Mm-hmm. You're going to have some differences in the population, in how you live, in some of the customs you have. In New York, it's very corporate, and you're working in big high-rises. In Iowa, you're mostly going to maybe be in farming, and so it's a totally different lifestyle that you're having. In America, it's the same. I mean, we're different countries. Mm-hmm. So what ties us or what binds us is the language, that we do have that common language, with the difference, again, of little words that you find also in the United States. I'm like, you go to Chicago and they ask you if you want a pop. And here, a pop might be a lollipop or something. Over there, that's a soda. Yeah. Or, so you have those little words that might differ from country to country. Mm-hmm. We all kind of have learned the nuances and the slangs and those different words to explain. So yes, at the center, we've had to learn that. I'm like, people walk in and suddenly they are talking about their child, and you don't know that they're talking about their child because they call it a different word than a child. So so we've had to learn those little nuances in order to better serve that population. But definitely there's a difference, and in the culture, and I think the values are very similar, but I find that with every ethnic entity, the family values, the wanting to have a better life for yourself and for your children especially. I think that's a common bond that we all as human beings have. I don't think we realize it, but we have that. So those values are there. What differs a little bit is the culture. Again, in my country, we don't eat tortillas like in Mexico. We eat arepas, which is a little bit different. So yeah, you have those differences that makes us unique, and at the same time, we as we learn them, we share them with others. So
we're going to take a break right now, but when we return, I will be asking Patricia Omana about some of the specific programs that's offered by the Center of Help. We're talking today with Patricia Omana, who is the Executive Director of Centro de Ayuda, Center of Help. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the specific programs, and there are quite a number that are offered by the Center of Help. And you'd made reference earlier, Patricia, to the fact that the center does a lot of work in terms of referral and assistance. Could you give us some examples of how you actually implement that in terms of referring people? What kinds of referrals do you get most often in terms of things that you handle?
most often it would have to deal with anything medical.
Okay.
That will be the largest one, and the second largest one will be anything to do with a child. Okay. Half, like 17% of the people that come into the center do have jobs, but 52% have an income of less than $30,000. Of those 52%, probably almost 40% are with an income less than $15,000. So obviously, this is a population that cannot afford medical coverage and is looking for help, if there's any, for their child. We do now are very lucky in Annapolis to have the new center, the new health center. So we're now starting to refer quite a lot of people to that center. And again, how do we refer? I go out and meet with the directors of all these different organizations and different entities to learn about what it is that they do, to learn about who can we contact, if they can give me a direct person that we can contact. So the person walks into the center, meets with the caseworker. We basically try to get out of some of them, like little spoonfuls, the information, what is it that they need. And we just start making phone calls. And we start linking the person to the entity or to the service that's out there, obviously, if they qualify. And by that I mean a mother might come in with a child that was not born in the United States. That child is not going to qualify for any service. If the child was born in the United States, however, it will qualify to receive any type of service, be it medical, food, etc. So we basically go through getting a lot of information from that client in order to then analyze and assess what is the real need that they have. Some of them might come in thinking that all they need is maybe getting help with food for their child, and it ends up that as you're talking to them, other things surface, like the medical, like school, like daycare. Other things start propping up when you're having that conversation. So they might have come in for one issue, or what they thought was one issue that they had, and it ends up being 3 issues that we covered that day. So we could sit with a client up to a couple of hours. By the time we make those phone calls, by the time we find out who they could link with, that happens. We have a couple of clients right now, for example, that are homeless. One is in the Lighthouse shelter at the moment, and so we're trying with a group of other people, try to get this person back into receiving Social Security. He's a U.S. citizen. Actually, he's a permanent resident. Trying to get all his IDs, all his back on his feet. So we might have, different issues coming in through that door, and then others flourish that we have to be on our toes trying to figure out. And some we might be able to deal right there and then. Some, unfortunately, we have to say, come back in a couple of days or come back in a day, and we will have your answer.
You'd mentioned that you work extensively in terms of efforts to strengthen families and working to deal with domestic violence, which you've expressed as a problem. Talk a little bit about what your general work is in terms of strengthening families, but comment as well on the domestic violence part of it.
With the strengthening families, we have been very lucky for the past years to have gotten grants through the health department to execute this program. Is important, especially I think for any family, but for our community we have a lot of issues with that link of child and parent. Once a child starts school, they learn English very quickly. And unfortunately, the parents don't have that base, and as you get older, it becomes more difficult. So there's an immediate disconnect with that child and that parent. So through this program, we really try to make that connection with them. We have executed it in the middle school level before they hit those teenage years that we all know are very difficult. And again, to teach the parent and the child how to better deal with each other and with different situations. So when the high school years come, that doesn't become a huge issue. Trying to at least prevent a bit. With domestic violence, it's a very tough one. Not only because of what domestic violence is, but in the Hispanic community you have other issues that in the other communities you don't. One of them is the documents. So you might have husbands or partners that are threatening the person as well with immigration. So now it falls into a different level, not only of domestic violence, but now you have other layers that you have to deal with. But we try to put them through the process of documenting it, going through the police department, etc. Some have qualified to get the U visa. And we've taken them through that process to be able to again make their lives and their children's lives better. And again, we work with the YWCA and some different immigration lawyers in order to do that as well.
Well, another area that you work in extensively is in terms of adult literacy. which is especially important. You get people involved in what we call ESOL programs, basically teaching English as a second language. What do you do in terms of that area? You just mentioned that, you know, for the children, they pick up English very, very quickly. Mm-hmm. For adults, it's a lot more slow. I know my church has an after-school homework and reading ministry, and of the children in it, 16 kids in it right now, all from the Latino community. And you know, they work with us in terms of help with the homework and that kind of thing. But several have said that they really depend on us to help because their parents can't help them because they don't understand English. And so we fill that role. But it's obviously important for adults who are living here in the United States to be able to learn English. What do you do to move that along?
We have 3 different ESOL classes: a beginner, an intermediate, and one a little. I don't want to call it advanced, but it's a little bit more advanced. At the center, we have kept these classes a little bit informal in terms of they don't have a beginning and an end. It's more dealt or dealing with the basic need that they have at the moment. They might be a person that just got a job and they cannot quite communicate with the manager at that job or with the supervisor. So we immediately tackle, and the whole class tackles with this person, how they can start communicating better with that supervisor or that manager. The center's right next door to OIC. And OIC and I have a partnership going on because OIC does have ESOL classes as well, but they have them with a partnership with a community college. Mm-hmm. So they're very strict and in the curriculum basis. So they have a beginning and an end, they have an assessment test, all that. If you miss 2 classes, you are out of the program. I've kept it on purpose a little bit more loosely because I know that there's a part of the community that cannot make the commitment of going every day from 8:30 to 11 o'clock to a class. Some might have gotten a job for the day, so they're going to miss. Some might get a job just a little bit more permanent, so they will miss more than one class. So they come in to the center Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to noon. There's 2 of the classes, and Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3:30 to 5, and that's another of the class. So, but I've kept it a little bit more informal in that sense to meet the needs of the community, so they can come in.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Could you tell us a little bit also about what you do in terms of moving people towards citizenship? This is an issue that's going to be a great concern for new immigrants, and I know you've worked in that area in terms of getting people along those lines. Can you briefly describe what you do in that area?
Yes, we definitely try to identify those people that are resident and permanent resident, which there's a big chunk of them. There's a big misperception as well that everybody that walks into the center is and that's not the reality. We have a big clientele of people that do have legal, if you want to call it that way, either work permits or residency or permanent residency, and some citizens as well. But we try to identify those residents and push them. You cannot quite obligate, but kind of push them and lean them towards going to citizenship classes. In the county, there's a couple places that give citizenship classes. I'm hoping that at the center this year we're going to be doing that as well. And so we try to get them to go to those courses, because in those courses, basically what they teach them is what is going to be in the exam, in that verbal exam.
Right. Let me ask this, Patricia, if there are individuals, I'm sure there are, who are going to be interested in learning more about the center, how can they get in contact with you?
They can always call 410-295-3434. That's the telephone number at the center. And they can call anytime. We're open Mondays through Thursdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call anytime, come by and visit. There's always somebody there. I'm usually in and out because I'm trying to create all these partnerships and learn about all these other organizations and agencies. But you're welcome to come by and visit and see what we do and how we do it and what our needs are.
You have a website?
We have a website, and it is www.centrodeayuda.org.
That's www.centrodeayuda.org. Thank you for viewing our program today, and please join us again on Annapolis Mosaics. If you would like to have more information about the Annapolis Human Relations Commission, you can jot down the information that's on your screen. You can contact us at 410-263-7998 or by email at hrcommission@annapolis.gov. Or you can check out our page at the City of Annapolis website. Go to www.annapolis.gov, click on the Boards and Commissions icon at the home page, and you can scroll down to the Human Relations Commission page. And always remember the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "We have flown the air like birds and swum the seas like fishes, but yet to learn the simple act of walking the earth as brothers and sisters." Thank you. Thank you, Patricia.